Okay, folks, here's the deal. This is the first live ever, I think. Streamed live. Let's put it that way.
Stream Live podcast.
Live streamed podcast of Leupold's Hunt Talk Radio. We're streaming it live on our YouTube channel. And I have no idea what we're doing here. I may as well be sitting at the controls of the space shuttle or something because I'm clueless. But these guys, Marcus,
This guy right there.
Matthew, Dan, Michael, and David, they know what they're doing. So it's taken 5 technology people to stream this live. But anyhow.
It's the Google. The Google helps. You got to just figure it out. Just
Really?
type it in, what you want to do, and it tells you how to do it.
Google is your friend.
Yep.
Whenever I ask Marcus a question, he says Google is your friend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give an advance warning, folks. I am dealing with the world's worst sinus infection, so I think this podcast is going to be brought to you by Sudafed, Vicks, Alka-Seltzer, who knows what else. And I apologize in advance if I got to blow my nose every once in a while here, but we came back from Wyoming recently. Matthew brought a big elk home, and I brought home the world's worst sinus infection. Marcus brought home some above average footage.
Above average?
Yeah.
Wow, thanks.
Well, Michael just does. Michael just what's Michael say? Lay down some average
footage.
Average footage. Yeah, that's why Michael's Christmas bonus is small compared to everyone else's. He's got to step it up. But before we get into it, we better let people know who this podcast is brought to you by. This is why it's free. The reason the podcast is free is because of great companies like Leupold Optics. Leupold sponsors everything we do. If you're in the market for optics, I hope you will go and check them out. They're big supporters of hunting, of shooting, of public lands, of conservation. They don't say a lot about it, but I do. So, Leupold they're just the folks that keep this place smiling and happy. Orion coolers. Did we bring any? All the coolers are out in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Darn it. Sorry, folks. We could have had an actual visual plug here of Orion coolers. OrionCoolers.com. Go there. Use promo code Randy, and you're gonna. Anyone got their tumbler with them? Oh, right over there.
I got it.
You got it.
Maybe.
Navigate the cord.
This is what you get if you buy an Orion cooler and you use promo code Randy. You're gonna get one of these for free. Right here. And doesn't cost you anything extra. Just say promo code Randy. And then with the next 2 sponsors of this podcast are really important for the elk hunt we're going to talk about. Onyx Maps. One of those things, if you go and hunt in Wyoming and you apply, you see these little asterisks that always say, access is difficult in this unit. Well, that's why we apply in those units, because it scares most people away. And we have our OnX tools, and that helps us navigate those places that are difficult. And if you go to onxmaps.com, hey, I think you ought to buy this for the hunter in your families, hunters, plural, in your family on Black Friday. I think OnX right now is having a 30% discount. Is that what's going on this weekend?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's on top of the 20% you get with using promo code Randy. But if you go to onxmaps.com and you use promo code Randy, you're going to get 20% off. So, and you'll probably shoot more elk, draw lots more tags, all kinds of stuff. The last sponsor of the podcast is GoHunt.com. And if you wonder how we draw these tags, how we do all of our research, how we know what it's going to be like, Go Hunt has this service called the Insider, and we use it all the time for everything that relates to tag drawings. And the tag that you drew, Matthew, that we're going to talk about, I knew about it through the Go Hunt service. So go to GoHunt.com, use promo code Randy, and you're going to get $50, $50 of free store credit in the world's best backcountry gear shop. There you go. We've made it pretty easy. Promo code Randy. R-A-N-D-Y. Look at that. We got all kinds of people. This thing says there's 157 people watching, and we didn't even give any advance notice. You think I have to answer these questions?
We got some comments coming through.
Really? I have an elk hunt coming up next week in Unit 5B in Arizona. What tips do you have? Happy Thanksgiving. My tip in Unit 5B, I had an antelope tag in there. I saw some really nice bulls. You're going to see the mesa, Anderson Mesa, and it breaks down. As you go north, it drops off. Those elk are going to be in late season mode. They're going to be in those canyons down there. They're going to be in the places you walk up to the edge and say, I don't want to shoot one down there. That's where they're going to be. I've been there. Can't say I had an elk tag, but I'm pretty sure that's... Hey, someone said, Randy, I'm proud of you. Your shirt looks like it's right side out this time. Because Corey Jacobson and I did a podcast, and Corey let me sit there with my shirt on inside out. It wasn't until we went to lunch later that day that I'm feeling around. I'm like, I got a tag hanging out the back. These new Sitka shirts are screwed up, man. And then I looked, and I had it on inside out. So.
Nice.
Well, that's what that guy was talking about. Anyhow, we just got back from a Wyoming elk hunt. Matthew had the tag. Uncle Larry, my uncle, who people have seen on our content before, he had a tag, but unfortunately, Larry's been dealing with serious health issues for about 12 years. 2006, he almost died from mantle cell lymphoma. Went to the MD Anderson Clinic in Houston, Texas. I think it was 6 to 9 months of chemo he had there. He was, man, he looked terrible. They put him on a clinical trial that lasted for about 5 or 6 years, and then they had to take him off it, and it came back again in 2011 or 2012, I think. They put him on another clinical trial. Well, we got a call last month, just after we got off the elk hunt with Bo. The Montana elk hunt had a call from Larry saying, you know, my doctors aren't going to let me go on the Wyoming elk hunt because so many people in this clinical trial are tipping over from heart issues, and my heart is really giving me a lot of grief right now. So, unfortunately, Larry didn't get to join us. It was all up to you, Matthew.
Yeah.
The whole burden was on your shoulders.
I was not feeling too much weight on my shoulders on this.
No?
No. I mean, go out there, enjoy the hunt. That's about it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
After about the first hour on the first morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seemed like we'll get into that, I guess.
Yeah.
But there was good news. Larry will hopefully be able to,
yeah.
Wyoming has a certain thing, right?
I'm thinking that Wyoming does something that I hope other states consider. I wasn't aware of this, but a few years ago, I think it was the guys from Backcountry Hunters and Anglers helped make it possible that Wyoming passed a law that if you have to miss your hunt because of medical reasons like Larry did, and your doctors can give all of the appropriate documents to prove it, you can request to either get a refund or reserve the tag for the following year. They say we don't guarantee you're going to get the tag the following year. It goes to what I think is called a license review board. But everyone I talked to said, you know, he should get it. So cool. Assuming his health allows him to recover and do well, we could be out there again next year.
All right.
I wish other states would do that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, really cool. I like that idea, and I wasn't even aware of it until Buzz Heddick, the guy who joined us. Buzz lives in Laramie, Wyoming. He's been on the podcast before. Buzz called me and said, hey, sorry that Larry can't make it, but be thinking about this. There's this new law. And so we got everything sent in, and hopefully he'll get to be on the hunt next year, because when he sees the footage of Matthew's hunt, I think he's going to want to go. The funny part was that it didn't even require maximum points.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how good those hunts are that require maximum points.
Yeah, that was the most unreal place I've ever been elk hunting.
Yeah. I've had some really good tags. I'm with you, Marcus. Crazy.
It was insane. The number of bulls that we saw.
Yeah, what did we see? 84 bulls the first year? Or the first day?
First day.
84, 86, something like that. And Matthew passed every one of them. I'm not sure why. What do you got there, Matthew?
Don't worry about it.
Okay, Matthew's got. There's somebody giving us grief out here, and Matthew's getting him off the channel here. Is that the deal?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Just don't worry about it.
All right, you're the tech guy, so.
Shout out to Luke P here, quick.
Let's see. Sitting in surgery pre-op, watching Randy. Hey, Luke, good luck in your surgery, man. Hope it goes well for you. That's not a fun place to hang out, especially on Thanksgiving, especially in hunting season. But are you going to make me go through all these questions?
No, I'm not. We should probably start talking about the elk hunt here pretty soon.
I would think so.
Future reference, so that's kind of fun,
Yeah.
Do a little live podcast, a little Q&A action.
I think so. It's kind of in contrast, though, because the folks listening and downloading the podcast are trying to follow a conversation that makes no sense.
Yeah, maybe it's two different applications.
Yeah. The folks who are watching live on YouTube are listening and doing everything, and everything's going great. So, elk hunt.
It's a learning process. We'll figure it out.
We'll completely destroy our brand within the next hour, I'm sure. But anyhow, you had this tag, Matthew, and we had Wyoming. The application deadline was in January. And when I called you, I said, do you want to apply for one of the super duper hunts with your max points, or do you want to step down a ways because Larry had 3 points less than you? You didn't take too long to answer that question.
Yeah. Would rather go with Larry than, worry about the quote-unquote best unit out there. So,
yeah.
Was happy to do a party application with Larry and, worked out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he couldn't go, but it worked out for you. And when you say there wasn't much weight on your shoulders, I tried really hard to put him under pressure. But he just...
When you see 84 bulls on the first day on public land, or publicly accessible land at least.
Yeah. Crazy. They were all in the winter range areas, which... When I saw how little snow was there, I thought, they're all going to be up high. And the bulls were all down.
Yeah, they'd migrated already anyway.
Yeah, they were at least on the low end of their transition range if they weren't on the winter range. And so what made you decide to actually finally shoot one on the second day, Matthew?
I mean, everyone's going to get something different out of their hunt.
Yeah.
And for me, I didn't go into it with a set goal of I'm shooting, the next bull that's bigger than X number or anything like that. For me, it was just, am I enjoying the experience? What am I looking for? And so it took maybe a day or so to figure out exactly what it was. And eventually it was just, hey, I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah.
And eventually we did see the bulls there. We had a good opportunity to sneak up on them. We were able to get in a position where we had a fairly good clean shot wasn't too far away, and that was just the right kind of confluence of events that made it time. So also it didn't hurt that there was a blizzard coming in the next night, and we probably wouldn't have been able to see anything the next day. So
yeah, kind of like when we tried to drive home the next day when we couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
That would have been hard glassing. I think we would have lost at least 1 day, maybe 2 days of hunting.
Yeah.
Based on that.
Yeah. And it's just one of those where, we still had a few days after that, but we had a good opportunity. Like I said, I had a good shot that wasn't too far. I felt comfortable with it. And there's not too much more you can ask for than that, I don't think.
No. For me, anyhow, I would have never got to see the bull you shot because I had filled my tag so many times the day before. And when it was funny, you passed how many, so many bulls the first day.
Yeah.
Nice bulls.
Yeah.
There were two that had some interest.
How many mature 6 points did we see? Like, 5-6-year-old bulls.
Yeah.
I bet we saw over 30.
I bet
5-year-old bulls or older.
Yeah, I would bet. And so I don't know. You kind of went through I'll call it a pre-season drill the evening before, but I just had the feeling you had no interest in ending the hunt right then.
Yeah. I mean, we saw enough elk while we were out there that it became clear that I did not need to rush and shoot something.
It's pretty unique.
It was really cool.
I've experienced, like, that's not typical. It's like, you see a mature bull elk, like, you're going to want to shoot that
Go
thing.
for it.
Yeah.
But no, that was really cool to see that many elk.
Yeah. And so that again kind of relieved the pressure where it's like, okay, we saw 84 bulls on day one, and it's not like they were going anywhere. They were not flustered. They were not spooked.
And how many hunters did we see on day one?
Some cow hunters. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Not even in the same unit, though, I don't think.
No, they were at the gas station.
Yeah. But, yeah, it was unreal.
And I was worried. I'm thinking, oh, man, if we go there late, like Buzz suggested we do, I thought, oh, man, they're all going to be shot out, or they're going to be so spooked or whatever. And talking to Buzz, he said, nah, everybody will get done the first week. Some of them already came and filled their tag in archery season.
Oh, yeah, because this tag was good for the archery hunt, too.
Right. With the late season tags in Wyoming, most of them anyhow, not all, but most, you can go and hunt the archery season September 1st through the 30th. So I'm sure some of those tag holders were gone because of that. And then the fact that we show up, I don't know, 2-3 weeks later, it's like those elk. They almost seem like when we get elk come out of Yellowstone Park here.
Yeah, they were so calm. I mean, there were some that were not very far from the road, 600 yards or so away from the road.
Yeah.
They didn't even look at the truck.
I know.
I was like, what's going on? We're in it felt like you're on a private ranch well, I worked on one of Turner's ranches, and I would say we saw more elk and more big bulls than when I worked on Ted Turner's ranch that's got a ton of elk on it.
Wow. Right there. That's a good kind of point of baseline for evaluation. Then if you can say that's something's good. But I've talked to other people who've had those November tags, and well, I've had a couple of them, and in the units I've had them, there's been a lot of private sanctuary.
Right.
And the elk will come off those sanctuaries, and every time we lucked out and we filled tags. But, boy, you'd look down on some of those private ranches, and the number of elk just relaxing, hanging out would be incredible.
You almost wonder if we kind of got lucky, because there was quite a bit of private land around there, but they just – I mean, I guess we weren't really looking at it, so maybe they were over there too, but it didn't –
There were there were so many on public, we really didn't have to look any further.
I know. It was crazy. It was unreal. And
I've talked to other people who've had tags in similar units on those November hunts in Wyoming, and they've told me that the experience was similar. And I thought, that's a bunch of BS. But I one of the reasons that I think you might have decided to pull the trigger, Matthew, is this one was that notch bigger than anything we'd seen. Was that slightly helpful, or? I
mean, it was helpful that he was with two other ones that were no slouch on their own.
No, all three of them were really good bulls.
Well, it would. I mean, it helped, but again, like I said, it was a good circumstance where we were able to sit there and watch him for a while. In the footage, if you watch the day by days, you'll probably see this. Day by days will be up in a while. I'm not sure when exactly.
On our YouTube channel.
On the YouTube channel.
This channel right here that everyone's watching.
So we actually had the opportunity to sit and watch this bull for over 20 minutes while it was bedded down. And I'm over scrambling with a photography camera, just being like, oh, I want some photos of this guy while he's bedded.
Randy's like having an aneurysm.
Yeah. I'm about ready to blow a gasket here. And Matthew's like, well, I'm going to wait for him to stand up. Well, sometimes when they stand up, they don't just stand and pose for the camera. And I'm looking back at Marcus and Buzz, and they're looking at me like, this is crazy. What's this guy doing? What? Oh, wow. Not my tag. So I just got to lay there and accept the fact that it's going to happen when it happens.
No, I admire it, and it made for fantastic footage on my end, being behind the camera. Like, that's some good content. And then also the fact that you didn't shoot on the first day really added to the content level building up. Like,
Yeah,
it was perfect.
We couldn't go out there and shoot one in the first 20 minutes.
We just had to make the whole episode cooking
have
it.
the video like live stream, like Marcus just carrying around the video. Oh, we shot one. Let's talk about it a little bit.
Oh, we would.
You could do that.
That's when you just make the episode about packing it out and cooking it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys got to build with what you got.
Yeah, I would have had no problem if you would have shot that first bull slightly uphill from the truck. About 10 o'clock the first morning. That was a dandy. Not as big as the one you shot, but
not too far off though. I mean, it was the one you shot was substantially bigger.
Yeah.
Definitely heavier.
Yeah, and the story and some of the pictures are out on our forum. We have a big web forum called hunttalk.com. And I think Buzz, the guy who was there with us, he started a thread out there called Randy, stand on it. Like, hurry and get here. Because he'd been out scouting the afternoon before and had found some bulls and was saying, get your butt here. Hurry up, because don't know how long they're going to be here. Well, they were still there. All right, folks, I'm going to have to wipe my nose because my sinuses are about ready to blow up here. So I'm going to let Marcus and Matthew take over for a second while I try to solve all my ailments here. I don't know what causes it. There's hopefully a doctor's listening and can say why some people get really severe sinus infections, because I get about 1 or 2 a year that almost knock me out. But maybe I'm just getting old.
It's probably it.
My eyes are watering.
Doesn't look fun.
No, it's not fun at all. Actually, these headphones, I'm surprised they will fit on my head, as swollen as my head feels with this whole sinus infection thing. But so with that hunt, we've already eaten the tenderloin since we got home. We had
That didn't take long.
I was about to ask, how is it? Good?
Really good.
Yeah.
You know, people will say, "Oh, those old bulls, you can't make anything out of those." Well, last night we ate it, tenderloin. Monday night, no,
Today's Wednesday.
Oh, Sunday night we ate tenderloin.
Yep.
So 2 out of the last 3 nights we've had elk,
Nice.
fresh elk for dinner.
Yeah, people say that I keep hearing the old thing. Not that I shoot a ton of old animals or anything, but
Me either. So
It's
I
like-
don't have a large sample
I've
size.
never had, like 5-6-year-old bulls. They taste fine. Like
Yeah,
we've had.
Yeah.
They don't taste any different to me, or like the like the toughness or anything doesn't seem like it's any
No.
different than a. I mean, I guess if you shoot like a raghorn or something, it's a little more tender maybe,
Right.
but flavor wise, and it's about the same. I think.
I've not noticed any difference, but I've not shot any bulls. Well, I've probably shot one whose ivories were as flattened down as this bull had.
Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot left of his ivories.
No.
No, that one looked like he was pushing 7-8 years old. He wasn't
Yeah.
really, really old. He
But-
wasn't going downhill yet,
Yeah.
but he was. His
Body.
teeth were worn,
Yeah.
and I'm also I haven't been a biology student for a long time now, so probably losing my ability
Losing
to
your
judge
talent.
age. Yeah, no, they're pretty worn.
That's pretty precise.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty worn.
Let me Google it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we were really grateful that Buzz wanted to join us on that hunt.
Yes.
Matthew and I, we try to do one hunt together every year. Last year, we filmed the moose hunt. You lucked out and drew the Montana moose tag.
Yeah.
Year before, it was Nevada mule deer. And sometimes we have friends join us. Like on that hunt, Scott Jones, our buddy from Washoe Valley, Nevada, joined us. Mike Spitzer joined us. Mike actually put in the party app with us. He was living in Elko at the time. And for me, that hunt that Matthew and I do every year, I don't care if it's for ducks, if it's for grouse or moose or elk. it's the time that I always have on the calendar. That's the hunt that I'm always looking forward to. And I hope that people listening think about all the times you come up with reasons not to do the hunt or not to apply, or, oh, I'm too busy, or, I got work, or I can't afford it, or, well, you know what? Don't delay. That's, as someone who's my age, don't pass it up. Don't say someday, because someday doesn't always get here. And to have someone like Buzz join us on it, I thought, well, first of all, you'd be a fool not to take advantage of a local who's hunted it 2 or 3 times. Buzz has been on this podcast before. He's just really a great public land advocate. And we've always said, someday we need to hunt together. Well, all the planets aligned, and he joined us. And
it's a bummer he missed out on this podcast, but we kind of had to get out of that crazy winter weather they had going on down there.
Yeah. If we would have hung around, we might just be getting home now. So, Buzz, sorry you didn't get in on the podcast part of it. But I'm thankful for all the great friends that we have that we get to hunt with. We share some pretty special experiences with all that. And for me, that's a huge part of why I hunt and what hunting means to me anymore, is just who I get to share it with and the fun things we do. I guess the question is, Matthew, what are we going to do next year?
I don't know.
All right.
We haven't thought that far ahead yet.
Oh, I've been thinking about it already.
I
I've been out on go hunt. I've been on go hunt so much lately, researching this and researching that, looking at the calendar. What are the dates?
You want to come out to Oregon and try a general tag?
I hope
Archery Roosevelt. That would be pretty fun.
Yeah, because Matthew now lives in Portland, and I've always said someday I want to come and hunt Roosevelt. So maybe that's what we'll end up doing. I don't know if I'm tough enough to hunt them.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I am either.
And those guys who can kill Roosevelts on a regular basis, those guys they got all my respect. Whew, man. But man, they'd be fun.
Yeah.
Because the body size of your elk, Matthew, was one of the bigger Rocky Mountain bulls I've seen. But it's still not as big, they tell me,
as
to
Roosevelts
what a Roosevelt would be. So I wouldn't be tough enough to pack one out. I'd have to bring young people like you guys with to pack the darn thing out, or have Bo bring some of his llamas with. So.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you could get llamas through some of that thick vegetation. I think
I don't know if you could. This was a really tough pack out. What do we have? 3/4 of a mile?
Yeah.
A mile?
This was a really rough pack out.
In the contour we followed, it was maybe a mile.
Yeah. That was one of the easiest pack outs I have ever had with a mature bull elk on public land.
Ironically, it was probably one of the further bulls we saw away from the
I know, that's the funny part.
It was.
Yeah. Because
we saw a few a little bit further away, but not much.
Yeah, kind of how it worked out is we went into that basin where I would have never looked in a spot like that. It was broken, muddy, bad land.
No trees for miles.
Not a tree of any sort, hardly. And Marcus, you'd seen that bull go over that rise the morning before. Yeah. And Buzz had kind of warned us, hey, no, I know we're all glass in this direction, but don't take your eye off back behind us here. And you saw that one. And then the second day we kind of went on an exploration mission. And we saw not squat. We tried to go way up high.
Small herd way back there, yeah.
Yeah. Almost got stuck in where the road was drifted over. And I'm turning into such a candy ass anymore that I said, you know what, boys? When I know there's that many elk around, I don't need to drive up here and get stuck in a big old snowdrift.
I'm okay with not having to put the chains on the truck.
Yeah. And Marcus, what's your dad saying? Chains are for getting out, not getting in.
Yeah, I have a problem with that.
I know.
I do stupid things.
Yeah. Well, I'm your dad and I come from the same sort of ideology there. I'm not into getting stuck, so I'm sorry if I kind of wussed out, guys. But I said, you know what? let's just go back where we were. It took us a couple hours to drive back over that way, but let's go find one. And on our way, that was one spot we hadn't checked out, and it was kind of on Buzz's mind of, yeah, maybe we should go in there.
Right.
And we got in there, and we all split up, went different directions. When I went way to the west there, I just saw the 2 bulls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I came back and gathered all you guys up. I'm like, there's a couple bulls out here. Grab the spotter, and we go over there. And by the time we get back over there, 2 bulls become 6. And we're trying to get those 6 bulls. And Matthew, you must have thought we were nuts because those 6 bulls were, I don't know, they're quite a ways away. And Matthew asked me, well, what's wrong with these 3 down here? Well,
Yep.
I hadn't seen them.
Way closer.
Yeah, and way bigger.
Yeah. No, I was just looking to see, like, hey, there's probably a lot of terrain that these things are hiding in. We worked our way out to a better vantage point, so just looked around and tried to figure out what we could see.
Yeah.
Saw some.
Well,
Was about it.
I was wondering if you were going to shoot one of them. Folks, we were taking turns looking through the spotting scope. I looked through the spotting scope, and there was one really pretty one. His antlers were really brown, and the tips were so white. The one walking around that had the slightly broken third.
Oh, the really long
Yeah.
tines.
Yeah.
That was a nice looking bull. That's the only one I really looked at first.
Yeah.
Because the one that was bedded down,
Yeah.
his rack was like kind of obscured, and he wasn't turning his head at all.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I think that one's a shooter. And
Yeah, I was looking at the one bedded. You guys had to point out the long tined one to me, and I took one look at that bull, and I didn't have to look in the spotting scope again. And then Marcus and Buzz looked in the spotting scope for all of about 30 seconds, and they didn't have to look much longer. And Matthew, you sat there on the spotter for, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and we're all thinking, hey, Matthew, this one's significantly bigger than anything we've seen, and we've seen some nice ones. And I tried my best to put the heat on you, but
Yeah.
you still didn't seem like you were that convinced it was worthy of ending your hunt.
I mean, I wasn't ready to say that it was the one, but, we got closer to it and everything worked out. So.
Well, that's the old don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, sometimes you're handed one that's close to the road, 3/4 mile, a mile at the most.
it was uphill. We did have to hike our
Slightly
There was
uphill.
some terrain. There was some up and down.
Oh, yeah, we gained all of what? 300 feet of elevation over that mile?
If that.
roughly.
Yeah. I mean, goodness sakes.
That was
What
nice.
more could you ask for? So, that's what we ended up doing. Matthew, you shot it with the Howa 300 Win mag. Why do you like a 300 Win so much? Since you were a kid, that's all you ever wanted to shoot was a 300 Win mag.
For the most part, I don't worry too much about recoil.
Yeah.
And it's, for me at least, it's in that spot where I know how it shoots. I don't really get impacted by the recoil too bad, so I don't flinch or anything with it. I think maybe 1 or 2 steps up, and I probably would, but that's just a good comfort zone for me.
Yeah.
And, it works.
1 or 2 steps up would be an elephant rifle,
Yeah, that's
wouldn't
true.
it? 416 Rigby or something?
Those things, I've shot 416.
Have you?
Yeah, that's a
I
nice
never-
little.
I never have. Because Howa is sending the whole crew that's here new rifles. And Marcus, you ordered a 300, right?
Yeah.
And Bo ordered a 300. And Dan and Michael ordered 7mm Remington Magnums. And I'm one of those 308, 7mm 08 guys. I'm kind of like the softy of the group, I guess.
Hey, if it works, it works. I don't really know. I've never been attached to a certain caliber. The
Me
guns I
either.
have, I just are would have been given to me by my grandpa and my dad.
Yeah.
So I was like, I didn't choose them. That's what I ended up with.
Well, if someone gives me a rifle, I'm not going to say, "Oh, I don't like that."
And so that's what. Yeah, I don't know. 300 is intriguing to me. I did, and I have shot yours, and so
Yeah.
I like it. It doesn't bother me. So
Yeah.
that's.
Well, one of the things on this hunt, we were using the 180 grain Nosler E-tip, the non-lead ammo, and we had Chris Parrish and his guys on a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
When was it? Last summer, sometime July or something, about the non-lead partnership. And this bull, that I was very impressed. That 180 grain E-tip at 285 yards went right through one shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And mushroomed, went completely through the other shoulder blade, and was buried on the hide on the outside. The first shot was perfectly lethal. That was a complete pass-through. And I told Matthew, shoot him again. And I don't know that he needed to, but...
Yeah, I'm with you. If it's still moving, shoot it again. Yeah.
That's just the way that it is with me. And a lot of people say, I can't believe you had to shoot it again. Well, sometimes we don't have to shoot it again, but ammo is the cheapest part of a hunt. What are you doing there, Matthew?
Sorry, just replying to some comments.
Well,
Keep talking.
No, we need your input here, okay? You're done replying to comments. You can come and reply to comments later.
Yeah.
No? Yeah? All right. So, see, now you started this whole discussion about recoil on rifles. Look, now everyone wants your input about rifle recoil.
I think that's mostly aimed at you.
Well, that's fine. Rifles are kind of like everything in life. You have your favorite football team, or you have your favorite, I don't care what it is. If it works for you, use it. That's what I say. And know how to use it. And if you know how to use it, there's very few cartridges that won't kill an elk that are legal, because some states have cartridge minimums.
Right.
Of that, but
yeah, I would say the biggest thing is something that you can shoot a lot and you're comfortable shooting with. That's the most important.
Yeah.
If you're going to actually hit what you're aiming at.
And we are spoiled in the respect that sorry about that, folks. I had to move my mic away. We're spoiled in the respect that ammo is free to us thanks to the good folks at Nosler. So there's no reason for us not to shoot a lot.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
You're saying your shoulder should be bruised?
No,
not for him.
No, and then
shooting that 308.
Right, and then also we got the great folks at Caldwell, who give us lead sleds and shooting bags and accessories. So, there is no reason that we're not out at the range doing all kinds of fun stuff. We're blessed in that standpoint. I get that the audience is probably like, must be nice, Newberg. Yeah, I'm not trying to rub that in. What I'm just saying is we don't have any excuses of why and what we use and how we do it. So a couple other things that I have come up now that we've kind of given a tease about Matthew's elk hunt. Hey guys, when's Matthew's elk hunt going to be on YouTube? When's it on the calendar for? December 10th?
Yep.
December 9th, 10th, or 10th and 11th? 10th and 11th. Maybe more?
It's the 10th and 11th right
All right. So.
I had to point my mic at him.
Oh, there you go. Oh, right. Yeah. All right, folks. Their answer was that you can watch Matthew's elk hunt out here on our YouTube channel starting December 10th. That a Monday?
Yep.
All right. So, with that kind of crossed off the list, and we've sort of teased everybody enough, I was scanning Hunt Talk, our forum, for some information to talk about or some ideas to talk about. One of the topics out there right now is people setting up blinds and tree stands on public land.
Oh, blinds and tree stands.
Oh, right.
I thought
Or
you were saying blinds in tree stands.
No.
Anyway,
No, a blind or a tree stand. Your mic is twisted there.
Oh, jeez.
Now
Here we go.
now
you
they'll
hear
be
me?
able to hear you.
Okay. Sorry.
And the question is, if you stumbled across someone's blind or someone's tree stand on public land would you hunt out of it?
That's an interesting one.
Anyone who
Well-
has an opinion on it, please go out to hunttalk.com and search that thread.
Well, so, and on some states and land management agencies, it's illegal to leave them
Right.
up
Permanently.
permanently. And I don't even know what the rules are in Montana,
I
or if
don't
it
either.
like who administers. Is it? I guess it'd probably be the land management agency, right?
I would think
like
so.
via BLM or the state or
yeah, whoever.
so. In one instance, I guess from my personal experience, I know of a permanent tree stand
Uh-huh.
on a piece of land where I grew up.
Yep.
And I mean, it was just known about. It was like very well permanent tree stand that was established.
Yeah.
And for that one, it was a small enough piece of land too that it's like if someone was parked there, you just didn't go there. But
Yeah.
if you were the first person to park there, you got to go sit up in that tree stand.
Yeah.
But that was kind of a situation where someone made that thing like years ago, and it was, I mean, I don't know. So I guess I have done it, but I would in that sense, but with the disclaimer that if I just found like a tree
Some
stand that
random person's like
that's like
tree
obviously
stand.
from that season, it's like someone set up their own personal like pre-made metal tree stand or something. I would not hunt it. No.
Yeah.
No. And also I hate hunting tree stands, so
Right.
there's that. But say I was into hunting tree stands, no, I wouldn't do that.
Okay. Would you hunt near it? Because
It's just such a weird dynamic for me
Yeah.
because I just don't like that type of hunting.
I know. So
Like when I grew up, I did it a little bit,
Mhm.
like just because it was something I could do after school in archery season.
Yeah.
But I just don't have that scenario in front of me anymore. Like I just I'm gonna go hunt mule deer. I'm not gonna sit in a tree
The
stand.
reason some people said they'd hunt it is that wherever it is they're from, I didn't look to see, is that people will go up and set multiple stands or multiple blinds to kind of claim spots.
Oh,
And
well, that's
not
an
hunt it.
interesting.
And it
dynamic.
never dawned on me that people would do that.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
Some like Midwest issues.
Yeah, I think I would probably, again, not use the actual tree stand or anything, but I would have no problems, setting up right next door to it and being like, you can't just scope out or claim the public ground for your own hunting benefit.
Right.
If you're in it, yeah, I'm not going to blow you out of it, but at the same time, if you're just setting up tree stands or blinds in order to claim the ground, like that's not what it's there for.
yeah, because I've done archery antelope hunts and I've seen people set up 3 or 4 blinds on water holes.
Oh yeah, so that's another interesting one. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer because then they're like, I don't know, because I can see it from their perspective where it's like they want to be able to hunt all 4 of those and they want the antelope to become accustomed to the fact that there's a blind there.
Right.
But at the same time, you're kind of claiming a lot of stuff for your own that's
Right.
public land.
Right. So, I don't know. I guess if people have thoughts on that, go out to our Hunt Talk forum and chime in. I know for me, if kind of like in the bison hunt in Utah, even though we were starting up the hill and the guy came around us on the ATV.
Oh yeah.
That was kind of a sketchy thing for him to do, but oh well, he did it. And even at that, it's public land, so I held us back and just said, well, let's see if he goes left. If so, we'll go right. If he goes low, we'll go high. If he goes high,
Right.
we'll go low. And a lot of times, we hike into places and we see other hunters. And if they're first, it's like, okay, you get this drainage. You
Right.
beat me in here and have at it. But I've also
Yes.
had people come and just camp right on me.
Yeah.
They see that I'm sitting there glassing, and they come and sit 100 yards away. It's thinking, well, what would we do if a bull came out here?
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's kind of a case by case situation. I mean, everyone has their own set of ethics and what they would do, but
Right.
it's hard to have a blanket opinion on that.
right. I think it depends on the situation, but the reason I grabbed my phone here is I have an email that came to me the other day. Let me see if I can pull it up here. It I don't know if I'm the guy who deserves the credit for this, But yeah, I'll summarize it. And he said, Randy, you are one of the platforms that have really encouraged a lot of people to start hunting public land. I don't know if that's true or not. And he said, I love seeing people out there. I love seeing the advocacy for it. But a lot of these people are showing up and their etiquette, he didn't use the term ethics, he used etiquette, leaves a lot to be desired based on how they interact. Here, I'll read the email. It just pulled up here. Again, like I said, I don't think I'm I'm to blame, but maybe I am. And so he says, I thought to present an idea to you as a small section of a larger podcast or a brief YouTube video, that being public lands hunting etiquette. I conducted a brief and by no means exhaustive Google search of your name plus public land hunting etiquette, but did not find any hits. I'm writing this to you this season because I have documented increased use of newbie hunters, new hunters in spots otherwise devoid of people in the past 35 years of my hunting experience. On the lead end of this conversation, I'm thrilled to see these newbies using modern tools to locate areas and using their feet to access good hunting grounds. However, how should I put this, quote unquote, tact, can be less than conducive towards a cohesive public land use hunting experience. These newbies have the best camo gear, smartphone apps, lightweight hunting rifles, but some training on issues of etiquette may be in order. I'm sending this to you because I believe these people are hunting the public lands due to your influence, and for that I thank you. That being said, there's some level of responsibility we all share to help them appreciate the hunt, other hunters, and the success of hunting in general. And that it should be something above just simply the kill and the social media posts. So
I'm curious. So he didn't have examples of what he was talking about. He didn't
no,
approve of their etiquette.
No, he didn't give precise examples. But I'm wondering, should there be a discussion about this? What is public land etiquette? And as quick as you start down that path, people think you're telling them what to do, and then you end up with this kind of give you the middle finger sort of response of don't tell me what to do.
So I guess one way to look at this then is if you were out hunting public land, what are a couple things that people could do that would make you upset or do you think would be crossing a line from their perspective?
I guess if they saw you on a stock and they had almost a foot race to beat you there. I mean, I've seen many people go in on a stock, and I just sit and watch if they're going in before I do.
Right.
Things like that.
Or even I've heard of, along those same lines of, say someone, they're trying to get, they'd like 200-yard shot. They're trying to get 200 yard. All of a sudden someone shoots it from 600 yards away.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
right.
That's a bummer.
We've had that, Matthew, antelope hunting, right? Guy shot right over our head.
Right. And in some situations that person might not know, but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it was in your situation, but
I'm not sure what it was in our situation other than they were drunk, and when I got to the truck, all three of them got threatened with bodily harm when they drove by, drinking their beer. And so one guy was standing in the bed of the truck, driving around with his rifle, shooting at stuff, while the other two guys drove.
Well, he might have a short life expectancy anyway.
But I don't think that the email referred to those kind of things.
Probably not.
I think it was referring more to people who just, maybe it's because maybe they are newbies, as he said, and they just don't know.
Right.
I mean, a lot of times we think that people do things because of intention rather than out of ignorance or lack of knowledge.
And I mean, there might be some base things, just like pack out your trash,
Yeah.
keep an eye out for where you're going and where other people might be. Like, might just be simple
Mm-hmm.
Small
Yeah,
things.
Yeah, and where other people might be. I guess I think about it. If I see somebody on a ridge, I'm not going to hike up that ridge and then over the next basin that they're probably glassing.
Right. I guess maybe that's what he's talking about. Like, or maybe if you're hunting a small tract of land, like, okay, like someone's parked there. It's only 160 acres or what? Who knows? Like, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like that. I guess that. I mean, in my mind, maybe that. I don't know. Maybe that's what he's talking about. I'm sure there's a lot of examples of what he's probably referring to. But.
Yeah, and I've probably had more encounters waterfowl hunting with public land etiquette than I have anything. Where you set up your decoy spread and you're in your blind.
Yeah.
Way before the sun comes up, and some guy comes wading out there, throws his decoys 20 yards from yours and says, well, it's public land. Okay. Could you maybe move 100 yards or 200 yards? Or I've had people set up when we're waterfowl hunting where they don't even have any decoys, but they come and set up right on the edge. So anything coming into your decoys, whether it's ducks or geese, they're shooting at before they get to your decoys.
So I guess there's another example.
I mean, again, it's public land, so that's one of the risks you take when you're hunting public land. That you're going to run into someone who has a different idea of proper etiquette.
Right, and I guess, I mean, who knows? Maybe those people aren't doing it maliciously. Maybe it is, they just don't know. But I imagine it. I don't know.
Well,
it's hard to...
I think it's if he really thinks that our platforms have put that many people out on the public lands, I would disagree with that. But if he does feel that way,
it's all Onyx's fault.
There you go. I'm willing to take some of the responsibility of having the discussion about what's proper etiquette. It
would be interesting. We could probably have people like give some examples. I think that would help.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think of them right now.
And it may not even be etiquette. It might just be there is not a wealth of knowledge out there or shared knowledge for people who pick this up as adults.
Yeah.
So my girlfriend went through the hunter's ed training just online, and as she was going through it, there were a few moments where it was very obviously just aimed at people who were, 11 or 12.
Okay.
And I think that so much of what we consider etiquette or ethics or things like that get passed down through learning from a mentor or something like that, where if you're trying to pick it up without having that in-person resource to help guide you on these, I think that there are some times where you just don't know that you're doing something wrong. And I think that might just be a broader overarching, like, hey, there is just not the information out there for people that want to pick this up as they get older if they're trying to learn it on their own without somebody who's done it for a while.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because I imagine some of it could be a cultural thing too, like, for example, like ground pounding grouse. Like some people are like, oh, you can't do that.
I ground pound every grouse I see.
All right. And then I'm sure I've been the jerk to certain waterfowl hunters when I float through their decoy spread, just jump shooting ducks, floating down the river. We'll put a pontoon boat in and float down the river and shoot ducks. And so in that situation, I could see these guys have no respect, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how we are able to duck hunt.
Right.
When it's otherwise private access.
Yeah.
And so
I think floating, if I set up on the river, I fully expect some people are going to float by.
Right.
How else is that floater going to get anywhere?
Right. And my defense is, I'm putting up the birds for them so that they can go and land in their decoys.
Well, I think we just, thanks to this email, this listener, I think we got a whole bunch of content ideas of what we could talk about. I'd be interested to know what other listeners have encountered and if they thought it was intentional or if they thought it was just lack of understanding, lack of knowledge.
Right.
And I suspect there's a little bit of a difference in states that have a lot of hunting pressure with general and over-the-counter tags, say Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, and Colorado, and maybe some of the whitetail states in the Midwest or the East or the South. You get places where it's all limited entry units, very rare species. I doubt that there's probably, I don't know, maybe there is. Well, Jerry Pritchard had an antelope tag in Arizona. There were, I think, 10 tags for that hunt. And Jerry's making a stock on a buck, and some guys were, if they saw us making the stock, and they zoomed out there with their side-by-side, chased it off like they were going to get the shot. So maybe...
Or, well, for example, on the bison hunt, it's not that I disagree with this, but I found it interesting and slightly off-putting, was like every take holder had 5 friends helping with radios,
or 8,
which is
or
perfectly
10.
legal in
Yeah.
Utah.
And
But
it's
just
part of their tradition of how they hunt there.
And so, but like I could see, like, you know, I kind of look at it as whatever, but
Right.
easily could be like, oh, man, that goes against my ethics, and like that pisses
Right.
me off that those guys are out there radioing.
Yeah. I mean, in Utah, I suspect residents there don't even give it a second thought. But we come from a state, Montana, where radio communication is illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those guys who walked up to us had like Secret Service type earbuds and radios on.
Oh, they
them.
were serious.
Yeah. And so when you first see that, if I saw that in Montana, or if that person came to Montana, they would get turned in, they would get ridiculed, they'd get harassed. But to your point, it's culturally what happens in that area or in that state or within those communities. And so some would call it ethics and etiquette. It's just differences in how people do it. But
yeah, we could do the public land etiquette series, and then we'll
there you go.
piss a bunch of people off.
Oh, yeah. There will be a lot of fired up people as quick as we start saying, oh, you should only set out one blind, or you should only set out one tree stand.
You should only ground pound grouse. You should not.
I'm gonna be the guy upset if there comes to be some prohibition against shooting grouse on stumps and on the ground.
Well, we got a lot of flack for spot and stock turkey hunting. People didn't
I
like
know.
that. So
Yeah.
that's another one.
Give
right
me a
there.
break.
People
You know
do
what?
not like. They're like that.
Yeah.
Some people thought it was dangerous, and I can imagine if you are on a small tract that has high hunting pressure, it
Maybe.
could potentially be dangerous. But
Yeah.
like where we were hunting is like,
Yeah.
okay, there's one parking area for the next 4 miles. There's no one here. Like
Yeah.
we know that we're gonna be all right.
I
but-
read those comments, and they were mostly to do with the quote-unquote ethics of it. You know what? That turkey doesn't give a damn if he got shot out of the air like Michael finished one off, whether he got called in and shot, whether he got shot walking down the creek bottom. The turkey didn't really care.
Right.
He got killed,
Yeah.
and he got ate. That's as far as I go with that kind of crap. I mean, people like to confuse personal preference with ethics.
Right. But I mean, with everything though, there's always a line. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, with turkeys, the thing that always comes up is use of rifles. I think use of rifles for turkeys is a safety issue more than an ethics issue.
Yeah.
I don't care if people shoot them with rifles if legal in that state. It wouldn't bother me at all. But I do think there's a serious amount of danger involved when you're hunting a bird that tends to stay in thicker cover, that people are using decoys to call in, that they might be carrying it out. There's using rifles in that situation to me is more of a safety issue than it is an ethics issue.
I think we've been getting people commenting on YouTube about all sorts of
Oh, have they?
ethic things that they've.
Oh, wow. Huh. Where I guide, we've cut in front of other hunters. If they don't have the energy to stay ahead of us, then they can stop hunting on the trails I spent all summer clearing.
See, there's this personal opinion that.
Yeah. Let's see. There's all kinds of comments out there. Someone says laughing out loud, public land. Oh, wow. Well, I guess we've got. Will it save this stuff out on YouTube?
I have no idea.
I believe it will.
Okay, because there's a ton of comments right there.
Well, no,
that we
actually,
could
I don't
use.
think it does. We
Really?
might want to copy and paste that, yeah, because I remember before when we
Okay.
when we had the live stream Elk Talk stuff
All
go,
right.
all the YouTube comments
So we better
disappear,
tell
so-
Michael or Dan over there off camera that someone needs to copy and paste all these comments so we have them
when we're done.
Yeah.
when this shuts off.
Yeah.
But-
I think that this has been a fun experiment, but I think we'll probably want to tweak it in
Oh,
the
yeah.
future.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff though. Now we
Yeah.
can. Now we're like set up. We can just
Right.
go live whenever we feel like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And next time we'll probably give people some notice.
Yeah. Not just turn the button on that says like live stream now.
I think if we promoted it, I mean, I look at how many people we get when we do Elk Talk Live
Mhm.
on Wednesday nights, and we get lots and lots and lots. I mean, thousands of people watching live. So when you brought up this is really going to fan some flames here, Marcus. When you brought up the bison hunt,
Yeah.
so we ran into a person who had hit 3 bison.
Oh yeah. And this was not from that. It was hearsay, but it sounded like it was probably true.
Yeah, because they.
Yeah.
We knew he'd hit 2 based on someone in his party had told us he'd
Right.
hit 2. The next day we heard he hit a 3rd one. So Alaska has a law for black bear, or maybe it's for all species. I should look, but I think it's for black bear, that if you hit an animal, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
I've often thought, and I don't care whether it's archery, rifle, muzzleloader, doesn't matter to me. I've often thought that, in fact, the Montana legislative session is starting in January, and I think the date for bills to be put on the docket is early December. I've thought about approaching a legislator and asking, is there any appetite in Montana to have a law that if you draw blood, you're done?
Mm-hmm. So
So
I agree with you in general, but I'll play devil's advocate.
yeah,
here.
that's what I'm hoping
I'm
for.
gonna-
I want a devil's advocate.
Okay. So me talking to you about, well, you say that you get to hunt western states all over. You get to shoot numerous animals. You're not hurting for meat whatsoever.
True. That's true.
So
Yep.
me, I get my couple weekends a year that I can go elk hunting, and I want the meat.
Yep.
And so I hit an animal and I lose it.
Yep.
And if the game and fish agencies decide that that's legal and that's okay and it's not going to hurt the population,
Mhm.
and I really want and need that meat,
Mhm.
then
I'll go shoot
I
a
should be able to
second
shoot a second one.
one. That
And in that situation, and that's me playing the devil's advocate.
Yep.
But I feel for that guy.
Right.
The problem is there's a lot of guys that are just flinging arrows, wounding shit left and right, and it's just
taking long, 800-yard shots in a crosswind, whatever
and so
it might be.
that's where it's like really makes you mad.
Right. And
So-
the reason I haven't proposed it is because that's my personal creed that I have with myself, that if I hit an animal, I punch my tag.
Right.
People have seen episodes where, like in Nevada 2 years ago, I hit a deer and I said, I'm hunting only that deer.
Mm-hmm.
We passed up other opportunities. I wasn't going to go shoot a different deer. Fortunately, we saw him the last day of the hunt. He's out there in the field acting like nothing happened.
Yeah, that was kind of
But-
incredible.
But still, that was my hunt. I'd hit that animal.
Right.
And I get what you're saying, that I do have opportunity that other people don't.
Mm-hmm.
I hit a black bear in Alaska. I searched for that thing. I looked all over. It was the first animal I ever hit that I didn't recover. And I realized how lucky I was. I think I'd hunted at that time 34 years. And that was the first time I'd not recovered an animal I'd hit. And someone who hunts as much as I do, I've now come to realize that was probably a big streak of luck, Randy. So I don't know. I worry that people think, no, I shouldn't say it that way. I worry what it does to the resource as we have more and more hunting pressure, especially in western states, when people hit animal after animal after animal, and they think that the tag is Well, until I finally recover one. Well,
Right.
how many do you have to kill before you recover one? And I think there will eventually become pushback. There will come some pushback against these. And as technology makes people feel more comfortable shooting distances that this is open up a whole can of worms. I know it, but you cannot deny that distance is one of the variables that increase the likelihood of a lost animal,
Right.
an unrecovered animal. Anyone who wants to argue that distance is not a function of the likelihood of the hit you're hoping for, let's just end that conversation right now, because I'm not going to have an argument with someone who denies fact.
Right. Well, to play devil's advocate again.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I know.
That's what
I know
that's
a few
what this
people.
is about.
I know a few people at 200 yards versus some other people that at
Oh, yeah.
1,600 yards. I'm putting money on the guy at 1,600.
No,
yards
I'm with
because
you.
The guy at 200 yards isn't going to hit anything.
But is your 1,600-yard guy going to be more accurate at 1,600 or 200?
Right.
He's going to
So
be a lot
that's
more
my
accurate
point.
at 200.
Right.
I'm
For
saying
the individual.
for that individual,
Yes,
distance
absolutely.
is going to be a factor.
Yeah.
So, and when we have, and I'm as guilty as anybody. I look at my setup, with my Leupold CDS system and my, I've got these Howa rifles. They're dialed in. Everything I have is way more capable than I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably someday I'm gonna make a mistake. And does that mean that I get to go and shoot another one if I make a mistake?
Right.
And
For me, I feel like it for sure should be illegal to shoot a second animal especially on like the low number animals or units. Like, so for a moose or a bighorn sheep or a mountain goat or bison,
yeah,
like when it's fairly small populations, like I think that's a no-brainer.
right.
Where it gets a little questionable is the deer and elk, but I mean, I agree, like, because there's definitely people who abuse that. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've heard about it.
Right.
But then you feel for the guy that
I
that
feel
needs
for 'em.
nobody needs the meat.
Right.
Like that's not a very valid argument realistically, because
Yeah.
hunting generally costs a lot more to get your meat than. But anyway, different story. But that one's the one that kind of I feel for.
I kind of feel for it, but I wonder over the longer term if that person had to punch their tag that year because they hit an animal and didn't recover it. Where does their confidence level need to be in the following year before they pull the trigger or release an arrow?
Right.
Would it have any consequence? I don't know if it would. I'm just throwing it out there because I used to defend that there wasn't much wounding loss in hunting. And the reason I defended that was my personal experience was very, very little of it. Now, since that bear hunt, I've had two other, and I don't know if they were lethal. I never caught up to the animal, and they went long, long distances. So since then, I've had two situations where I've punched a tag because I hit an animal and I didn't recover it. So I think I defended it, maybe not having a proper perspective of how much of it might happen. And I know people listening are like, Randy, you're feeding the fuel for people who are going to complain about hunting. Well, me saying it doesn't change the fact that it happens.
Right.
So what the hell are we going to do about it is what my question is. Are we going to say, all right, everybody needs to raise their confidence level to that higher point before they let go of the arrow or pull the trigger?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where it's good to talk about it, but there's not really an effective way to enforce it.
No.
Like, you can't really legislate that in an effective way that I'm aware of. And I think technology has gotten better, which is why people are feeling more comfortable taking these longer shots. And I think that in general, it's a good thing that technology has done that.
Right.
I mean, talk about the Leupold CDS dials, for example.
Right.
Instead of having to hold over, you can set the dial, and so you're more confident of what that elevation drop is going to be, which means that you are introducing less human error into the system, which is a good thing if you're trying to take ethical shots. What that has done, though, is that has taken some people that say, oh, if I was good at 300 before, now I'm good at 600.
Right.
And so it's got to be some combination of just figuring out how do we just get people to realize, hey, wounding is not okay. Like, be confident in your shot. And so this was on the elk hunt that we were just on. One of my big points was I just want to have an instance where I feel good about the shot.
Right.
So the one I wound up taking was 280 yards. He was quartering away slightly, and it was one of those things where he's standing still, he's not moving, it's not far, there's a little bit of a wind, but it's not too bad. And, you know, it was a shot that I felt like I would make 99+% of the time.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I'm not sure, again, if that's just something that we need as a hunting community to, you know, bring that topic up more and just say, hey, waste is not cool or what. But I'm not sure even legislating it will fix the problem.
Right.
So.
I'm not naive enough to think a law would fix the problem. But I think about Alaska with their law. Ted Nugent, on his TV show, shoots and hits a bear and then goes and shoots another one. He got a ticket for it.
Well,
that's a whole nother can of worms that we won't go into today. But I do think it would cause people to think a little more.
yeah, no, I think a law would. I mean, if you actually had a law, I think most people would follow it. Because if someone's breaking a law and like doing it knowingly, they're breaking other laws. And that's kind of an outlier. I think people would follow it for the most part. I mean, but I would almost argue, bringing it back, I would almost make an argument against the fact that newer technology is changing it. Because technology has always been changing. I mean, it used to be open sights, and then we went to scopes, and then we went to higher quality scopes. I mean, how far back do you go? I mean, like, it's been a constant evolution, and maybe there's spikes in along that evolution of lethality of a weapon. But I mean, and then there's different weapons, different seasons. So, but yeah,
no, you're probably right. Maybe it's just that if you took the whole spectrum of all hunters and said, what's the average or the mean of what your confidence level needs to be before you'll pull the trigger,
right,
or release the arrow, and maybe it's not what Matthew said, 99+%.
No, I think a lot of people would be a lot lower.
Right.
It's like, I might hit that.
Right.
Fling an arrow.
So maybe it's, I have no idea, so I shouldn't even throw a number up. Maybe it's, all right, I think I got a 70% chance. Well, as technology improves, the range at which they feel a 70% chance is extended.
Yep.
Because they've got better rangefinders, better scopes, better arrows, better bows, better everything else.
For sure.
So,
but I mean, like, does that, do you think that has increased wounding loss?
I'm agreeing with you. I don't think it has increased wounding loss.
Right. Okay.
I think it's just allowed the if we say that across the years or generations that confidence level before letting go of it is 70%. As technology has increased, it allows people to feel 70% at a further distance than what it was for Grandpa.
Yeah.
So, but legislating it, it's not going to solve it. But I do think we need to quit denying that it's happening and try to figure out, because I'll make the devil's advocate argument that, okay, someone goes out and hits 3 bull elk in archery season and doesn't recover any of them. And then they go out and they shoot one with a rifle. Well, maybe all 3 of those bulls lived. Maybe they were just, flesh wounds, for lack of a better term. But what if they were all punch hits, and we all know that bull's going to die within a day or two?
Right.
Is it fair to the other hunters that now there's 3 less bulls out there in the population?
Yeah.
Because this person decided, I don't have any accountability. I'll just do whatever I damn well please. I have an unpunched tag in my pocket, and that's how I operate.
Right.
I mean,
So-
there are a lot of ways you can look at it. You can look at it, is it fair to the hunters? You can look at it, hey, you are still killing something. Like,
Right.
is it your ethical responsibility to say, okay, I took my one animal from this species or this population, and that's all I get? Or, I mean, there's a very wide range of directions this can go.
Yeah,
You can
and
look at
I've
it.
had this discussion with people, and they'll say, well, nothing goes to waste in nature. True. Nothing does. But if we go to the reality of where we hold ourselves to be in the eye of the public,
Yeah.
because we are trying to make our case as the minority, a very small minority, and we say we're ethical, we say we're concerned about conservation, we're concerned about blah, 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 blah. But then on the other side, we're not having serious discussions about wounding loss. I think someday someone will have that discussion for us, and it's probably going to be in an outcome that we don't like.
Yeah. I mean, I think if it ever did get to where it was a big problem, biologists and people on the ground managing the resources would start to recognize that it is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess if numbers are plummeting, it could be due to a lot of things, obviously. Right. But I mean,
And
hopefully it'd start to be recognized.
Right.
And so, like, on a biological level, I don't think it's an issue currently. And I guess in like a grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
But like an ethical thing and a public image thing, yeah, it's not good if
Right.
someone's out there shooting 3 elk,
Right.
and losing them. Like that's not a good public image.
But I think maybe not from the big picture of the biology of the herd, but if wildlife managers are saying, look, we know there's X% wounding loss,
Right.
so to get this harvest, we got to crank down the number of tags.
Then you're affecting opportunity.
You're affecting opportunity.
That's true.
The other part is, if you talk to some biologists, they will tell you that there is a peer pressure feeling in the hunting community that you don't talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
So as much as there's numbers and data that they might have of what's there, it's, if I talk about this, I'm going to get lumped in as being a crazy wingnut, far out in the weeds, hippie kind of anti-hunter dude. So I think within some of their just professional parameters of how they have to operate with pressure hunters place on them, that legislators place on them, that I don't know that they can have the honest discussion about it either.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe somehow, and I don't, how would you do a survey of it? Would people honestly answer?
I don't know.
Who
I mean,
knows?
you can't say that there is quote unquote a problem until you can measure it and you realize
Right.
like what is at what level is this a problem? As far as I know, I haven't seen any reports about wounding loss,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that that's probably the first step to figuring something like this out, is just what is the data telling us about, is how many animals are out there that get hit and then eventually die from their wounds? Is that
Mhm.
something that's seriously impacting the populations? And I'm not a biologist. I wouldn't I wouldn't know the beginning of how to start trying to account for that. But I think before legislation happens, you have to start figuring out, let's learn more about this. How
Yeah.
big of an issue is it?
Yeah, and maybe it's not that big of an issue. Maybe the last couple of years I've just heard so much of it that it's causing me to
Right.
start paying more attention to it.
Yeah, and it's always like an issue in relation to what?
Right.
The biology, the public image,
Yep.
the opportunity to other hunters. I mean, there's a lot of factors. And
Right. And the reason I've never pushed the issue legislatively is I just feel like I would then be trying to force others to accept what my personal creed is, what my relationship is with the animals. And I never want to do that. I don't want someone to say, well, because I do it this way, that's the right way. No, that's just the way I've chosen to do it, not because it's right. So that's why I've been hesitant to even bring it up on our platforms or in our podcast, because people instantly say, oh, like, you've never done it? Yeah, I've done it. I've shown it. I've told the world. I feel terrible. I feel embarrassed. I can't believe that I screwed that up. And every time I have done it, though, I have just said, you know what, that was my one chance. But like you said, Marcus, it's easier for me to say and do that because I get so many opportunities to hunt every year. My freezer's never lacking. I'm usually sharing the bounty rather than hoping someone will share with me. So I'm very aware that I'm in a different circumstance on that than maybe a lot of other people are. But so, well, I'm sure we'll get more than our share of hate mail and comments over that one.
There's been a lot of comments that have been very positive about this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, out on the YouTube feed?
Even though we're not perfect, we're not getting to everyone's questions.
Yeah.
There's been some good suggestions for improvement as well. So,
well, that's good.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But
well, I'm thankful that people didn't say, Newberg, just shut up, you're an idiot, because
well, now someone probably will. Requested
it. Wait for the copy paste comments of just shut up, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be many of them. But one thing I forgot to do in the podcast intro is we've been trying to help backcountry hunters and anglers with their year-end membership drive.
Okay.
BHA right now has really got a big push going on. I think if you sign up between now and the end of the year, they're giving away a rifle to someone who signs up as a member. Go to backcountryhunters.org and sign up. And
cool.
You
could get a cool hat.
Yeah, you can get. Marcus is wearing the public landowner hat. What's it say on the back?
Backcountry hunters and anglers.
Oh, okay. What do you got, man?
I have some Mystery
Ranch hat and
yeah.
Huh. What do I got? I
got some Sitka.
I got a barely visible Sitka logo here on a prototype flannel shirt they sent me.
But it's right side out, which is what matters.
That's what really matters. You can't see the logo if you're wearing it inside out. Oh, speaking of which, are they still selling the Marcus? But look at Michael over there. He's got
Hey, Michael, come here.
Put him in front of the camera.
Marcus Public Land.
You're showing the back.
Llama.
Showing the back.
Those you can buy out at Onyx Maps. T-shirts for it says "Explore Your Public Lands." It's put together by Onyx, by Leupold, and us. And the profits from the sale of that shirt that Michael just modeled for the YouTube audience here are all going to be accumulated and given to the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation to use in one of their public land access projects. So that's good. And then we've got the Hunt to Eat guys. What do we got out there? And with Hunt to Eat, we've got the new Hunt Talk hoodies and T-shirts. And then we had the Green Decoy T-shirt with them. Yeah. Do we have anything else with them? We had a hat. We have the Fresh Tracks. Oh, we got a Fresh Tracks shirt and a Fresh Tracks hat. So hunttoeat.com. They're doing a bunch of T-shirts for us. Where else can people go do their Christmas shopping? GoHunt.com. GoHunt.com. Yeah, go to the GoHunt.com gear store. I wonder if we talked about it. I can't announce it though because I don't know if it's live. People will be out there trying to use it.
Oh, promo code.
Yeah. Darn it! I should have called Chris and said, "Hey, we still going forward with that?" Because they have a really cool idea. People, you're going to be buying a lot more gear from GoHunt.com after we come up with this plan.
So check back on social media and we'll let you know. Yeah. Sorry, we don't have it right now.
Way to tease everyone.
I know. I'm sorry. I can't remember Dang it. Oh, also, don't forget, Alaska drawing deadline is coming up here. December
I don't
I
know.
can't
I've never
remember.
applied for anything in Alaska.
17th or something like that. I've applied this year for bison and caribou and black bear. I apply for black bear every year. What else? That's it. And then I heard Wyoming was changing their elk application deadline from January 31st to May 31st.
Oh, really?
I heard that was being kicked around. I don't know if we have any Wyoming hunters chiming in here on the YouTube feed, but I
don't know if we should tell people
And now
about
that's the
Arizona.
biggest rumor that shows up in the hunting community in the next 2 weeks. Oh, Wyoming's moving their date.
I don't know if we want to tell people Arizona. When is this podcast going live?
This one's gonna go live on next Friday. What is that? The 30th?
Okay,
Yeah.
so I guess then this might be too late for
For what?
them, but for the live people, Arizona has leftover
Oh,
tags
yeah.
going on sale.
Yeah, Arizona.
I guarantee there'll still be some left over by the time this
For-
podcast goes live.
Yeah,
Javelina, spring javelina.
and a few spring turkey.
It might be, I can't remember, but
Yeah.
for sure javelina.
Yeah, so we'll have that, and then we know that Arizona is not changing their draw date. We know that Arizona's draw deadline will be in February. And I've said it, I don't know how many times, but if you have a hunter that's a youth, and I believe Arizona, the age that they can start applying is 10, $5 for a non-resident license for them. And then you can use that to build points. That's why Matthew is sitting here with 18 deer points.
You get them to stick that needle in when they're young.
Yeah.
Get them addicted to the point system.
But someday Matthew's going to just say, yeah, I think I want to go here. And he's got the points to do it. And
One of these years, I just need to take 3 months of vacation and
There
just
you go.
use all my points.
I know, when are you going to do that?
I don't
We could
know.
make a film about it.
Ooh, the season.
The point burn or something
Yeah.
playing off of burning points. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You have got way more points than should be allowed.
Yeah. It's because I can't go on more than one hunt a year, so
I
I just
know.
keep stacking up.
I know. You need to quit that job. You need to move back to Montana. But no, it's Arizona is such a cool place.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be down there coos deer hunting.
Yeah, not too long from now. I'm excited.
Yeah. How many points did you have to draw that coos deer tag?
Exactly 0.
0.
Yeah.
And he drew. Yeah, and I bet you'll shoot a buck.
I don't know about that,
You-
but I'm not gonna be picky at all. I'm getting revenge
yeah.
after having to hunt those things with a bow and arrow. It's tricky. Now
It
that I
is.
can shoot a little bit further.
They're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of threads going on our forum and other forums about what is the western state with the best draw system. And it depends on if you like point systems or don't like point systems. If you don't like point systems, your first answer would be Idaho and New Mexico because they don't have point systems. But they also have very large license purchase requirements. So I think in Idaho you got to buy $160 non-resident, non-refundable license just to apply.
Right.
Arizona, yeah, you got to buy a non-refundable license there also, but that's why I focus on kids because it's only $5 for adults. It's 140 or something like that, 150. But with Arizona, if you're not holding out for the absolute glory tag, you can go elk hunting every 6 or 7 years in Arizona in their
And
late
you can go
hunts.
deer hunting every year.
Yeah,
if
you
you
can go
use
deer
archery
hunt-
equipment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, or even rifle, because I drew that rifle tag. It sounds like there's a certain units you can get rifle tags basically every year.
Yeah.
If you pick and choose the right ones.
Yeah. So people ask what state is the best. I guess it all depends on what you're looking for. If you're, how you look at it. If you hate point systems, you'd have a different idea. But if I compare them all, I'm really big on Arizona just because you're already up to 6 points again, Matthew.
For
Elk.
elk in Arizona.
Yeah.
Is there a wait period in Arizona?
No.
No, you just start accumulating right
Right.
again. Okay.
Utah and Nevada put you in the penalty box for a
Right.
few years. I'm in the penalty box in a lot of things in Utah.
It's a good problem to
Every
have.
tag I've drawn in Utah has been an archery tag. Archery
Yeah.
elk, archery deer, archery bison. And next year, it's going to be rifle antelope.
All right.
If I decide to burn my point.
If you decide.
I am one of 3 non-residents sitting at the absolute top of the point pool in Utah for pronghorn. So, but what else we got? We got anything that popped up in the feed here that we just
I
gotta
haven't
talk
really
about?
been paying too much attention to it.
Oh, someone says Marcus is really Spider-Man. Huh.
I don't know why that.
Wow. Huh.
That's how he gets the cameras and all the great angles. He just like.
And then
attaches them to
someone
the
else
web.
says, Marcus, has anyone ever told you sound a lot like Toby Maguire? Who's Toby Maguire?
Oh, he's the guy who plays Spider-Man. I think that's right.
That's why.
I have not heard that.
Huh. Wow.
Well, Arizona deer are small. You can put them in your back pocket and have it for a snack.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to that.
That'd be a
I'm gonna
good
shoot
snack.
a 1.5-year-old coos deer this year.
Yeah. Me too. I'm going to shoot a javelina. I'm going down there in January. I'm going to shoot one everything.
Yeah.
Everything that's legal. I can't wait to go do the falconry stuff.
Oh, I'm
I think
excited
we
for
said
that.
that on the last podcast, didn't we? I'm so fired up to go.
Get
I've
some
never-
slow-mo shots of peregrines taking out ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That is, how cool is that going to be? That'll be really cool. So, well, this has been an interesting experiment, guys. I appreciate it. The other thing I hope is that if listeners have questions or thought-provoking ideas like that email we got there about backcountry etiquette, I hope they send them to us because we're always trying to guess what the audience wants to hear. And it's nice to know what truly from their feedback, what they're interested in and what they'd want to hear. So
Right.
that is contact@randynewberg.com. I think
Alright.
isn't that
I
it,
think
Matthew?
that's
Or
it.
like one of the multiple social media
Yeah.
platforms. Actually,
no,
well,
no,
oh, you-
don't contact me on social media.
Don't- Sorry, sorry.
I don't answer Facebook messages.
Don't
Yeah,
don't
Facebook.
direct message him. Comments, things like that, they'll get looked at.
Right,
They-
comments on
YouTube comments pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 2 things I try to do is answer every personal email I get, and I'm so far behind. I feel like I'm a snobby, good for nothing. I actually lose sleep some nights worrying about how many emails have been unreplied or not replied to.
You're a much kinder person than I am.
Really?
I wouldn't.
Well, it's reached a volume standpoint now where I
It's
can't.
hard to keep up.
No, when you're getting, we'll get back from a trip and we'll have been gone for, a week and I got 1,000 emails.
Well, especially if it's a detailed question that requires a detailed answer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard. That's just.
Yeah. I get people sending me maps and screenshots from their OnX saying,
That's just.
how would you approach this? Well, it depends on so many things. It'd take me 2 hours to reply.
Right.
And
You can't do
So
all
I-
those.
I really, it still bothers me though. And then I try to answer every YouTube comment.
Well, why don't you start with this one from
What?
Bodie here? He's been trying to get our attention.
Ever hunted in Unit 30 in Idaho? I have not. No, Idaho is one that we just got to get on our calendar more.
Yeah, well, it's hard because they come out pretty late in the
Yeah.
application.
Yeah, and I always apply for moose in Idaho. I've done a few times. I've done sheep, but in Idaho you can apply for moose or goat or sheep. If you apply for one of those 3, you can only apply for one of them, and you cannot apply for elk, deer, and antelope.
Right.
So, I've always done the moose thing. I'm done with moose. I think I'm like 15 or 16 years applying for moose. I'm done with it.
I think I'm gonna put in next year and I'll draw.
You probably will.
Never applied for it. So.
Probably. So I think I'm going the elk, deer, antelope route. But like you said, the problem is their deadline is early June. So by then we've already got our calendar mostly filled. And I say, well, if I'm going to apply and we'd have to bump another hunt, I'm swinging for the fences. I'm going for, whatever. So that's why we've not spent a lot of time hunting in Idaho. But I'm with our buddy Bo Beatty from the Wilderness Ridge Trail Llamas.
Mm-hmm.
Go to their YouTube channel and subscribe, please. With him being in Idaho and him having all kinds of ideas for us in Idaho, maybe we just need to start hunting some general tags down there. With him.
I want to do a general archery elk. I think that would be fun.
Yeah. Give Idaho a few more years now to get past that killer winter they had 2 years ago. And their deer will be back up to, there's still always a few quality deer.
Yeah, it
around,
seems like I've been seeing some pictures of some nice deer coming out of Idaho still, but.
Yeah, but man, in 2016, that was the year to hunt deer in Idaho. Because that winter of 16, 17, they had that brutal killer winter. If I ever have enough points, I'd go for the San Juan hunt.
Is that an Idaho hunt?
No, it's Utah.
Oh, okay.
But in Utah, even if you had the maximum points, you'd still be competing with about 50 other non-residents with maximum points for that tag.
Yeah, I'll just go on general hunts.
I have more fun. I can't say more fun, but I have a lot of fun on those. Like right now, out on our YouTube channel, we have the Montana elk hunt from opening weekend. That was one of the more pleasurable hunts I'd been on in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's really not this pressure you feel of, oh gosh, I have this amazing tag that took 3 lifetimes to draw. Your expectations are, okay, if I go there and I see a bull, I'm going to shoot it because I may not even see a bull.
Because there's like 60 other hunters below us.
Yeah, all of that. And so for me, those are a ton of fun to go do those kind of hunts. This year I had a limited entry mule deer tag in Montana. And it was a unit that's not anything spectacular. And there was a part of me that said, why did I even apply for this? Now I can only hunt mule deer in this unit.
Right.
Instead of going to all the other places. Because while I was doing some elk hunting this year in Montana, some of the places I used to hunt deer and see nice deer are starting to come back. And I'm not telling anyone where they're at. But I would have liked to have went down there with my deer tag still in my pocket.
Right.
See whether or not I could do that. Other question is, each of you guys are sitting on 7 Colorado deer points, both Matthew and Marcus. What are you guys going to do with those? Carry them around forever?
No, I'd like to burn those.
Please do.
Yeah, I'd like to get rid of those.
If you don't,
and then I'd like to, because like some of those, my whole plan was to do one of those high country archery hunts.
Yeah.
But then I started building points because I think it took like 1 or 2 points to get the unit, and I was never able to go. And so now I just keep accumulating points, and now it's like, well, geez, I better burn them on something a little better than the 2-point archery unit.
Huh.
So now I got to get on Go Hunt. I actually have been on Go Hunt. I need to, for this next season, I'm for sure I think I'll try to
burn them.
Because Colorado's like true preference, right? So I should
right.
I can actually
have
a pretty solid plan of like, I'm going to go. It's not like if I'm going to go.
Right. It wavers a little bit, but there's some predictability to a preference point system like Colorado has. But if you don't burn them, you're fired.
All right. Well, all right, audience, can you guys let me know what unit to apply for? In Colorado with 7 points.
So here's what we need everybody to do. Go to gohunt.com, sign up for the Insider, and use promo code Randy, and you'll get $50 of free store credit. And then do some research and tell Marcus, here's where I would go if I was you.
No, I am gonna research a bunch and I'm pick a unit and hopefully burn them this year.
You gonna take
unless it's like, oh man, if I waited until I had 8 points and I could get that unit, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think I'd like to burn them.
But usually in Colorado you get that point creep where the next year it takes 9.
So I need to be looking at something that's like 6 points probably. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I think what we'd do is we'd send Dan or Michael with you. You guys take llamas.
Oh, buddy. That'd be fun.
and see what kind of mule deer you can find on the public lands of Colorado.
That sounds fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get the calendar out right now and pencil that in for November of 2019.
All right.
Marcus is going to be in Colorado. What are you going to do with yours, Matthew?
I don't know. Probably hold on to them for a while longer.
Okay.
You know me, I like just accumulating points and
you
not
are.
doing anything with them, right?
I know. What's going to be your hunt next year? You've
I
got,
don't know.
I think, 17 or 18 elk points in Nevada.
So is that something that he could burn? Like you could get rid of those and draw a unit for sure.
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, there are a lot of units I could draw for sure with.
Yeah, Nevada, because it's a bonus point system,
Yeah.
you don't know for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. But you got a decent chance.
A very
Yeah.
good chance,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you've got, I'm trying to remember, 11 or 12 pronghorn points there. You've got 10 or 11 pronghorn points in Wyoming. You've got maximum deer points in Wyoming. You need to start burning some of those.
Yeah, sooner or later.
Jeez.
It's hard when I only get
It's a good thing they don't
1
like
week a year.
What's
I'd
that?
be trying to buy them off you if they were, for
If
sale.
they were
but-
for sale.
No doubt.
That is probably not something that should ever happen.
No, that shouldn't
That
happen.
seems like there are way too many ways that could
that
go
would be
wrong.
corrupted
I
immediately.
think at one time, I was out on one of the forums, and there were guys in Utah who were thinking you should be able to will or inherit points.
That would be abused too.
That
Unfortunately,
would be heavily abused. You'd be down at the nursing home buying points for every old fogey around and say, in your will, you're going to will these to me.
yeah.
Well, it'll be fun to figure out what hunt you're going to do next year. You need a job. Can I call your employer and tell them that they need to give you more vacation time?
You can try.
You won't lose your job if I call on your behalf?
I don't know. Hopefully not.
Huh. Well, you need to be like these guys.
Although if I'm unemployed, then I can go hunting all I want. Right?
There you go.
That's true.
It takes money to go home.
Until you run out of money, yeah.
Yeah. But what did we say was our plan for next year? For September?
Archery elk.
Archery
In
elk
Montana.
In Montana, because Montana, our archery elk hunting is excellent. I think our archery elk hunting is way better than our rifle elk hunting.
Yeah, I think we should do it day by day, September day by day, where one of us has to be
Every day
Producing
of
it.
September,
a day
Yep.
of hunting.
whatever day season opens
That'd be
next year. I
fun.
think it opens on the 7th next year. I looked at the
Okay.
calendar. So
It's a good day.
September 7th through the 30th, every day someone from the Fresh Tracks crew better be archery elk hunting here in Montana.
And we're gonna try. I'm gonna try to outdo last year. So
Like, you shoot a spike or shoot something bigger than a regular?
no, we're gonna be done in the morning.
Oh, instead of that afternoon.
On
Yeah.
day one.
Yeah, day
Yeah.
one.
Last year, opening weekend, Marcus and his wife Kara shot their bulls on opening weekend. They were done.
That
So.
was pure luck.
Well, that's all right.
We were in the right place at the right time.
You don't need to tell everybody that. You can say, well, there's nothing to this. Let me tell you how this works, you know.
That was unreal. But yeah,
You should write a book.
I wish we would have had video cameras that day. It would have been really cool. Next year we will. We'll have some
Really?
cameras, hopefully.
I don't want to impose on your wife and your hunting time. That doesn't sound like a good long-term employment situation to have your employer saying, "Oh, you should film you and your wife hunting."
Well, it might not be as like high quality.
Be
Footage.
sketchy.
You're like
It-
holding the
But
camera
we'll
in
have
one
some
hand and the
footage
rifle with the
instead of
other,
no
like-
camera whatsoever. I did not have a camera.
It'll be even below average than Michael lays down.
I had no. Yeah, I forgot the memory card in my camera that day.
Oh no.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, but anyway,
Well, I'd be interested to know what kind of content the audience wants us to film too, because we're doing YouTube. Now Facebook is even asked us, our channel's been approved by Facebook to use their creator studio. We're going to start doing a bunch of Facebook content,
Right.
video content, not just posts, but video content. So it'd be interesting to see what people want us to throw out there.
Yeah. I don't know.
Guess we'll find out. Or we'll just throw it out there, and if nobody watches it, well, guess that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Anyone else got anything more to add?
No. We're
There you go.
creeping up on 2 hours here. So.
Are we? Ooh, sorry about that. We better let the audience go then. But so you're off to Arizona. I'm off to Colorado. And Matthew, you're heading back home to Portland.
Yep.
Oh, my condolences.
Yeah, it's at least warmer than here.
Well, that's true.
Got to find some upside, even if it rains the entire time.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, folks, really appreciate all of you following along, listening. I hope that we haven't offended anyone with our discussions about backcountry etiquette and about wounding loss. But if you have further thoughts on that, post them out there on either our YouTube channel or on our Facebook feed. Randy Newberg Hunter is the title for both of those platforms. And I'd say email me, but like I said earlier, I don't know if I'll get to them because I'm so behind already, but I'll try. Email Marcus.
Randy Newberg. Wait, what was it again?
Yeah, I'm hoping that the next time we do a podcast that I don't have quite this degree of sinus infection.
Yeah,
I'm sure
feel
that
better.
The audience watching on YouTube here has seen me wiping the corners of my eyes and blowing my nose nonstop. They probably think I've got some sort of cayenne pepper, and maybe you guys sprayed me with bear spray or something before the hunt. I don't know, but anyhow, folks, thanks for listening. Sure appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving. Oh wait, this will already be out there by the time Thanksgiving will have passed by the time this one's released. So
yep.
For those of you listening and watching on YouTube, happy Thanksgiving. For the rest of you, I guess what we would say is Merry Christmas and all the other things. Marcus is doing something here.
I was just going to copy all the comments before they get deleted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I don't know. Command C.
Command C, huh?
Where's
Let's go.
All right. Evidently. Oh, okay.
Maybe that'll work.
All right. Thanks for listening, folks. We're about ready to get into another technology trap here, and that just isn't going to be good for me. Thanks a lot.